survey of major wind and solar manufacturing plants contained in a report LIUNA and others commissioned showed that a majority of those employers did not pay enough to support a family of two. A wind blade manufacturer in Iowa took over a shut-down appliance factory where workers once made $19 an hour. They were given a $2 million in-state taxpayer money and then paid workers $5 an hour less, moving them from family supporting pay to just barely making it. That's not the promise of a green economy that the Obama administration and all of us envision. Under the President's economic recovery proposal, we are on the verge of dramatically increasing funding for residential weatherization, providing $6.1 billion to weatherize 2 million homes. The 100,000 men and women who would do that work must have a living wage. They must have health care benefits, and they must have skills training to create a career path. The foundation that LIUNA has put in place over the last century can be the foundation that helps effectively and efficiently build the green economy. We have more than 60 training centers available throughout the country, providing both construction and environmental skills, crucial to green construction. We are working with elected officials and with community groups such as Green for All to develop additional environmental coursework and to address local hiring needs, to make sure new opportunities exist for those who have been shut out in the past. Our training program is one of the best adult continuing education programs in the world, and it is free to workers. In just the past year, LIUNA members received construction and environmental skills training to meet the needs of contractors and open the door to future opportunities. The partnership in this room will insist on federal investment that is needed, and we will make sure that taxpayer subsidies help create good jobs with prevailing wages and living wages that don't drive communities further down. The fact is, the vast majority of green jobs for the foreseeable future will not be created by business alone, but rather through partnerships between business and government in the form of subsidies, incentives, or outright contracts. All of these businesses will owe their success to workers and taxpayers. To safeguard workers in our economy, we must fight for and enforce basic standards. Wherever taxpayer dollars are used, whether as subsidies, incentives, or direct contracts on green construction projects, payment of federal prevailing wages must be required to ensure that transforming our economy to a green economy doesn't drive those local community living standards down. Bad corporate behavior must not be rewarded with taxpayer money. Contractors who thrive on lowball bids based on cutting labor costs to the bone should no longer automatically receive work. Responsible contractor clauses and best value contracting policies covering both employers and investors must be put in place to ensure that contractors who bid for work disclose their safety records, their training opportunities, and their benefits policy. And they must also disclose whether they respect the freedom of their employees to join a union. On that note, as Rich talked about earlier, we are grateful that you've joined us to fight for the passage of the Employer Free Choice Act to help workers freely choose to make every job a good union job. We may have elected Barack Obama president, but our fight isn't over. It's just started. The last 2 weeks is proof of that, as Republicans try to throw up roadblocks to every effort to get our economy moving again, with a recovery bill to create good jobs. Investing in working people is too much for them. They are the same people who for 8 years couldn't find Osama bin Laden, couldn't find weapons of mass destruction, and now can't find half of the damn $700 billion they tossed to Wall Street. They will use every inch, they will fight us every inch of the way. And that's why, you know, Leo told me a little while ago about the success of this conference, though 2,500 dedicated trade unionists and environmentalists and environmental groups and like-minded individuals come here to Washington, D.C. And I know I speak for Rich that when we sit up here, and Leo was here earlier, I'll tell you what I see. I see, when I look around this room, I see the heart and soul, the very backbone of not only the trade union movement, but of the environmental movement. I see warriors for change, the liberators of working people that know in this fight that we can never back up and we sure as hell can never back down. That there can be no retreat, there is no surrender, and that the spark, your spark, will light the fire of not only the worker revolution in this country, but of the environmental revolution that needs to occur. Reverend Joseph Lowry, an unbelievable American, an unbelievable individual and human being. Well, he was at a conference with him, and he said, you know, the question is what time it is. I'll tell you what, brothers and sisters, it's the time for us to return to our activist roots as trade unionists, as environmental rights protectors, and to make sure that we replace Wall Street with Main Street and that we put workers first. And I say this with all due respect, but the most valuable asset we have as a country isn't corporate America, it's not Wall Street, it's working men and women, and that's what we need to continue to fight for day in and day out. You know, so as we continue our partnership to make sure, to ensure green jobs are good jobs, let us stand together, let us stay together, let us fight together, and let us win together to make sure that we change the course, the direction, and the destiny of our movement, of our environment, of our country, and of our world. Thank you very much.
Wow. That was terrific, Terence.